So, before we start, I just want to flag that this is a campfire session, and it would be really great if you stacked the tables. I don't really want to see one or two people on a table, if possible. If you are a group of people from the one school, it would be great if you could separate as well. So give you a couple of minutes to sort that out. Thank you. There are. Okay, I think we've hit 2 o'clock. Does this sound on to you, or where's Donnie? They can hear me? Okay, yep, okay, it's on now. Thank you. So, my name is Chris Durante. I am the School Engagement Manager for Schoolbox for New South Wales, ACT and New Zealand. And prior to that, I've been with Schoolbox for 6 and a bit years now, and I was in schools for many years before that. I'm joined today by my colleague Louise Haynes she's from Brisbane. She is in the Ed Consulting team. So one of our consultants that works closely with schools to both implement and to make Schoolbox great again. Let's say that. So our session is a session around bringing platforms that you have in your school together, or the concept of that. So we've named it Unified by Design, and building a seamless digital school ecosystem. The power of this session is at your table, in fact, all of the tables. As I said, it's a campfire session. We're going to ask you to share. Not everything is going to be, perfect. But the greatest part of this is that you will be able to hear stories from other schools, how other schools are navigating things, and share your story as well. So the structure is around myself posing some questions. Some of those questions, there'll be a little bit of input from the front, and really giving you some time, around about 5 or so minutes to discuss at your table the ideas around those questions. So what we're looking to achieve for everybody, what might a unified digital ecosystem look like? What strategies might allow a school or your school to move closer to unification and beyond fragmentation? From what you hear and share, how can you reflect and evaluate, maybe return to your school with some maybe things you can take forward, decisions that are pending, decisions and ideas that are in your head, and put those into place to improve your ecosystem? Or, alternatively, how does it reinforce the decisions that you have made in the past for your stakeholders? And really picking up on an idea that Grant mentioned this morning, he brought up this concept of embrace and extend. And I guess part of what we're trying to do is share some of what we're trying to do at Schoolbox to, you know, make this journey, make this jigsaw puzzle a little bit easy for you, add value where we can, where other vendors and partners and things are involved. So, here is possibly a familiar scenario. Many software platforms, many stakeholders with different wants and needs. Just in my experience as a school engagement manager, I've seen some things that I quite often don't believe. Schools with not one SIS but two, alongside multiple LMSs and Google, Microsoft sitting together. LMS where a school might invest in a platform. Teachers and faculties might, I don't like that, I'm going to go off-piste and just do my own thing. And in the end, a bunch of kind of disparate systems to suit, that seemingly might suit people's individual needs, but not really for the school. There could be junior school and senior school needing different things and wanting different things. In my time back in school as an e-learning coordinator, I recall, it'd be, you could sort of time it after, and I was and still am a teacher, but people would go off to events like this and come back and say, I need this software now, because it was the next biggest and brightest thing and they had to have it. And in the meantime, there'd be the IT managers, they'd want to know, where's the security here? Does it have single sign-on? They'd have their sort of stake in the conversation. The business manager might be looking at the costs, and then others who might be thinking more strategically and wondering, well, how is this all going to fit together for the end user? So it can sometimes feel like a jigsaw puzzle, where the pieces some pieces fit together, others kind of, you can jam them into each other, and others overlap. And then there'll be gaps and all sorts of things. So, having a little think about that, I am going to pose a question. Your first question for the day. So in your school, how do you define a truly unified digital ecosystem? And how does Schoolbox fit into that picture today? There is your first task. Off you go. Thanks, everyone. We started off with a question that was fairly broad, and I'm hoping that as we work through, we get a little more specific as we go. I'm wondering whether I can throw to Lou now, and if she can. She's probably picked up a bit of gold that's been discussed out there. So, providing people are okay to share with the wider group. I'll throw to you, Lou.
Am I on? Oh, I am now. Someone I prepped before. This team had an interesting conversation about what they were seeing as unified and how Schoolbox fitted into that piece. So I'm going to get Kelly to do that for me.
Hello. So when we see the word unified, I guess for our approach is we're only about 18 months into our Schoolbox experience, so we're quite new from that onset. But we're trying to go in the approach of having like a centralized platform for staff and students, so that there's that user experience of not having to go to so many platforms outside of Schoolbox. So for us, it's, looking at the integration and making, seeing what embeds or what iframes we can use and things like, so when students sort of essentially open their devices, it's hit Schoolbox, then from there, click on what you need to go out to your other platforms. So, and essentially they don't even realise that they're actually going to another platform because it's all within the one space. So for us, that's sort of the way we're going forward, and we're trying to really stick to that approach of seeing how things integrate, or if it doesn't directly integrate, how can we integrate it in other ways. So, yeah.
Wonderful. What's your name, sorry?
Callie.
From?
We're from Aiken College
Aiken.
in Greenvale. Yep.
Wonderful. Thanks. Thank you so much. Anyone else has got a burning desire to share? You don't have to. We'll pick on you later. So, okay. So on that kind of idea of, I guess I've heard it described as a single pane of glass, where you are trying to give the user, that experience of landing somewhere. And, yes, Schoolbox can fulfil that role for sure. Let's just have a look at a few, I guess, of the ways in which Schoolbox has tried to assist that process along, I guess. So I have a couple of examples here on this slide around our premier partners. And I guess what we are trying to do here is, we get asked for things regularly. You've seen the feature request forums and things on help. And for certain things, like, we have the capacity to build those things, but for others, we just don't have the resources in the time that, people are going to expect that. So part of what we do is partner, and we look at, cultural fit and best of breed out there, and work with those. So extend the kind of experience that you can give users through an integration. And integrations where it feels seamless. There might be some things going on in the background, but for the end user, it feels like it's all happening, to a large degree, just inside Schoolbox. So in this slide, we have Paperly on the left-hand side there. These guys are our forms, excursions, and parent-teacher interview partner. That component or that widget can sit on the dashboard for a staff member, student, or a parent, and create, like a task list around the forms and excursions that are relevant to them. Once again, it's bringing people into the platform for that purpose, but potentially leveraging what else might be going on. Hey, I just saw some news directed to me, or I might go and check my child's grades as well as fill out a form here. Geo Snapshot on the right-hand side. So this is our photo management partner, and we've built, a really cool integration with these guys around the sharing of photos directly to parents, sharing of managing photos in the Geo Snapshot platform, but bringing them onto group pages and things like that as well. Likewise, Turnitin. We partnered with Turnitin, 2 or 3 years ago. We knew that schools had Turnitin licenses, Feedback Studio and whatnot. But I think a lot of schools have sort of, when that contract with Turnitin has sort of come up, they've thought, well, wouldn't it be obvious to bring it into Schoolbox? Okay, it might not be the 100% of functionality that Feedback Studio has, but it'll probably fulfill a great need of just having the similarity check, the plagiarism check inside Schoolbox. And we've built that integration to make that feel seamless with all the wizardry going on in the background. IntelliSchool, a similar thing. Data analytics, where the whole experience is inside the platform. Rachel mentioned this morning around getting to know your students. And, for me and for a lot of schools that I talk to around things like with these partners, and particularly IntelliSchool, the experience used to be, if I want NAPLAN results, I've got to go on to Scout and remember my username and password and all those things. Well, hey, it's just like 2 clicks away to get to know how this child is performing, what their attendance is like, how they're performing in Schoolbox, assessments, and also in external exams like NAPLAN. And lastly, we have built and are building, which is the image on the right, which is probably going to provoke some conversation, integrations with Google and Microsoft. So we have a purpose-built Google Doc integration whereby you can manage visibility using that add Google Doc component onto a page. You may have heard of the Microsoft LTI Teams and Reflect and OneNote integration. That is forthcoming. James will probably say a little bit more about that tomorrow. But, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make these things work for you. We know we're not going to compete against, school that's got Teams in their school, even though there might be a little bit of crossover with what you're doing in Schoolbox. But it serves another purpose, and, we like to keep it that way. So, having processed all of that, here's your next task. So, on your table, can you discuss what integrations, APIs, LTI, SSO, calendar sync, third-party partner products, have made the biggest difference in your school in making your digital ecosystem feel connected? 5 minutes. So, thank you. Great chatter and great energy, and I was a bit loath to stop that, but we'll keep moving. I've asked Tim Gardner from the Newcastle Anglican Schools group to give us his take on. He's got a little bit of experience in this particular space, particularly the SSO area, but also a bunch of experience in doing Schoolbox in schools. So, thoughts? Tim? This is Tim.
My name's Tim. I work for Newcastle Anglican Schools, and I'm the IT manager for 4 very different, very spatially diverse schools. We're also BOD just to make it even more fun. The single biggest impact that we did across the 4 schools was implementing PIPs. What that allowed us to do was to allow staff, students, parents to all sign in using precisely the same method. So they all see the same little prompt, they all sign in the same way. For parents, it meant that we're a task school, so they would sign into their parent account with one username and password, which was a bit weird, and then they'd jump into Schoolbox with something else. And then we brought in learning analytics through track 1, and that was a nightmare. And I said, no, we're not doing that. So we came about looking for a better way to authenticate people. So PIPs came to the rescue for us, and that allows a parent to sign in once to Schoolbox and then click on the button to go to another app if we want to, and they won't be prompted to sign in again. So because of that whole experience with single sign-on, it then meant that when we rolled out other applications like IntelliSchools or things that we can put within Schoolbox, within iframes, it meant they didn't have to log into those either. So we are now able to roll out more and more features, more and more things to parents, staff and to students, and they don't have to log in over and over and over. I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, Schoolbox is a one-stop shop. I hate calling it a shop because it means we're asking parents for more money. I do prefer the single pane of glass, and that's one of the really cool benefits of all of the other integrations you get. With single sign-on, we can have an iframe for IntelliSchool, an iframe for GeoSnapshot, an iframe for what else do we integrate with? Everything. Calendly.
Everything.
Paperly is a new one that we've just deployed in one of our schools. No need for a separate sign-on, nothing to worry about. Everything just looks like it's within a single pane of glass. So for us, the biggest integration has been single sign-on, which has then allowed us to do the whole single pane of glass, one-stop shop kind of thing. Is that all right?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Great. Did everybody get PIPs? Anyone need a further explanation of that, of who they are and what they do? If you need to know more, have a chat with Tim. Yeah. Now, anyone else out there wanting to share what their thing is? It SSO the biggest thing? Is that pretty much there as a big sort of ticket item in this area? I would probably agree. Back in when I was at school, towards the end of my time there, 2019, it was like a mandatory feature of, okay, if you want this software, if it doesn't do SSO, we're not interested. So yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Tim, for sharing. I'm going to keep moving, and I'm going to go straight into a question and talking about parents and talking about stakeholders. One of the things is around feedback and how you actually ask all of these staff, students, parents, and junior school, senior school, whoever. How are you using feedback? How are you finding out from them to get feedback to guide your broader decisions about your school's digital ecosystem, including the use of Schoolbox? So what are you doing as far as asking, getting data, doing research, talking to stakeholders, and helping you navigate this space with that information? Maybe you're not doing anything in that area. A few minutes to discuss that one. Okay, thank you. I believe Lou has discovered a little bit of gold down there, down the back there, that is worth the room hearing. You guys okay to share?
I have one that will, yes.
Okay. What's your name and your school?
Hi there, my name's Alex Smith and I work for the Education in Motion group, which is the international school group who all got the chance to stand this morning. We were very enthusiastic. Yeah, we basically have a technology survey that is a 360 review survey that is sent out to parents, teachers and students as well. It's not just reviewing Schoolbox, it's reviewing our entire technology stack, and is supported by research from, Joseph, can you remind me the university? The Southern Florida University, and basically the questions are targeted to try and get the best responses for those, so we can work out where the holes are that we need to plug and where we're doing well within that stack as well.
Awesome, thank you. And how often do you do that survey?
It goes out at the beginning of term, so it's going out fairly shortly, I think in the next week or so. And yes, as I say, it goes out to everybody. It's about a 15-minute survey, so it does take a while to fill out, but we do get some excellent data from that, and because people see the changes that come about because of it, it encourages them to then complete that and keep that process moving forward.
And what's your strike rate for the?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't actually. I shouldn't admit this, but I'm not actually able to see the survey itself. That goes to my boss, who then feeds it down to the relevant schools.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. So we have this idea of something that somebody came up with somewhere called the golden pathway. And this is around having multiple platforms of software in your ed stack that potentially can overlap and can do similar things, but not all the same things. So a typical example would be a student management system and an LMS, or even other platforms that, you know, more and more are playing in the LMS space. They might have a mark book in, I don't know, Education Perfect, for example, and then a mark book in Schoolbox, for example. So where do we draw those lines? Which software does what? And for whom? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. When software wants to stake a claim to some piece of school life, for example, reporting, pastoral, admin, how do we decide who wins? Now, on this slide, we have a kind of a golden pathway for Schoolbox and Veracross. Now, I'm not necessarily like product placing Veracross here, even though they're just out there. However, because we have this for every one of the SISs at Schoolbox, and if you are, having this type of conversation at school and then with your school engagement manager, somebody like me in your territory, we can provide you with what the current state of play kind of looks like for Synergetic and Schoolbox, or, and you can do some comparisons. So, we've done that sort of mapping, and, some schools would have probably done it themselves, but if you need help in that space, we can do that. But this is kind of the idea that, hey, some of these things do overlap, and you're probably going to have to make that decision yourselves around, look, what's the best fit for us? What's a workflow that we currently have that we want to maintain that's in the SIS or in the LMS or whatever it might be? So with that as context, here is your next question, and it's very specific around how do you decide which platform should own certain functions, be it comms or wellbeing, assessment, reporting. We heard in sessions this morning, things about Schoolbox summative reporting. How would you decide that one? Because that's typically done in SIS. How do you avoid duplication across systems? So these are the conversations that are going on all the time in schools because of these platforms. So let's chat about that. Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any particular insights on this question that they want to share? What's your magic formula here at your school? I heard a lot of chatter and I heard a lot of animation and...
They stop talking when I come past now because they
Oh,
know.
do they? Okay. They just turn into kids, don't they? Yeah.
Maybe leave this one, Chris.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Well, I'm just warning you that there are certain people in this room that I know. I know who you are.
Yes,
I
I
know
know
your
this
names.
tall.
I know where you're from because you're in New South Wales. And I may get you to wrap up the whole session. So just be prepared, putting that out there. All right. I'm going to keep going and I'm actually going to skip that question. And this is our last question. So if you could magically improve one point of integration between Schoolbox and your other platforms, what would it be and why?
We almost need a response from each table on that.
Sounds good.
Oh, they don't like that. Are you talking about like almost like a UPS rule? Bruce and Reed? Do you want to say something? That would be really good. Someone I haven't picked on this table. I've stayed away. Yeah, well, you could together. You can share, but.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for all your contributions today to your table and to the wider group. I wonder how we can achieve this, Lou, if you do one and I do one, and then you go to the next table and I go to the next one. So keep it really brief. You know, if it's Taz right back, that's all we need. Somebody's filming this session, so we'll get a record of all this. So how about you guys go first?
Yep. So we'd really like be able to set up a UPS rule for that. Basically, just gets people out of whatever group they may be in. So this is to manage former parents and former students and things like that leave. So it's just a clear way of doing it.
And also these guys talked about managing pastoral groups, because that's a manual process. We talked about the fact they could have a lot of groups if they're quite a number of schools or a P to 12 school, and that pastoral group management is a manual piece. Yeah.
So let's keep it focused on integration between Schoolbox and is it the SIS that you're trying to connect?
No, this is inside Schoolbox, this one. Yeah. I guess Luke did talk about more API connection, so that maybe could fit inside of that.
I'll pass that one. Go, mate.
How good would it be if Schoolbox could write markbook and attendance and pastoral data back to TAS?
Anyone from TAS in the room? From TAS? Thanks, Lou.
I think one of the things that we would like is a few more technical integrations around either webhooks or APIs from Schoolbox, so that we can pull more data directly out of it without going to the database or the raw source.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to getting OneNote and Teams integrated a bit more seamlessly inside the instance. So it's big.
Love it.
Ours is the same with Schoolbox and TAS. I'd like it to do it with Central, please.
There you go.
We're a big Google school and love a lot of Google Classroom, and we'd love to bring the power of Google Assignments, where you can have managed assignments, into Schoolbox, so that it's more integrated and it's not this thing that sits outside. So we'd love a way to integrate that between Schoolbox and Google.
Thank you.
Would it be very cool for some of our teachers quizzes, like some type of quiz integration? Because when we switched off D2L, which was our old learning management system, years of quizzes disappeared, and so our teachers are recreating quizzes from the ground up. So any type of quiz integration and generator, or maybe that'll come with the AI, would be super cool to cut workload down.
Another right back to TAS group, unfortunately. Yeah.
An API connector for EduMate to the cloud.
They're getting better.
Yeah, no. On a serious note, because I know it's a sore point, the clipboard and Schoolbox integration, it would be awesome if you could actually do the activity selection and mark the parents log the absentee from Schoolbox, rather than having to go out into clipboard to do that.
Got a seconder? Yeah. Great. Okay. Last couple.
It would be good if there was an API that exposed all data in Schoolbox. Twice today I've found things that I'm told I need to go to you guys to get the data back out again. So that would be extremely handy because it makes everything possible.
More APIs. Okay, we've got one last one.
Just seconding Teams and Insights integration.
Down the front, Chris. Two more. I'll do, if you want to do Mal, I'll do Kat. Or you do Kat and I'll do Mal.
Further to your clipboard one, we want to be able to do like when you go into clipboard and cancel your games, for the comms to go through straight to Schoolbox, not via Digistore. And agree with the Teams and TAS.
I don't know what kind of magic that the people program in the background do, but you know, when you go and accept settings in either Google or Microsoft, and it says you'll be able to write to this, you'll be able to see this, you'll be able to do whatever. I reckon if there was a system where you could integrate anything, you know, with just a little pop-up or a checklist where you can just go through and check all the boxes and then just press OK, and then it magically just does all the stuff in the background. You've asked for magically. That's what I reckon.
I have. Thank you so much for those contributions. Thank you for being here today. Keep the conversation going. Visit the studio out there and feed some of this further on. Bail James Leckie up at dinner tonight and share some of this stuff with him. But thanks everyone for participating, and we'll let you go to your next session. Thank you.